a bunch of crackies. Now, woo! There's cries from the stage. On the left, Bunch of Crackies are a group from Newfoundland that rock in the middle of the Atlantic. They are also members of Youth for Social Justice, a network of youth working across the Atlantic provinces to promote social justice on the environment, speaking about racism, sexism, and all those other issues that we definitely need to learn more about. I would like to welcome Bunch of Crackies.
Welcome to Land and Sea, Atlantic Canada's favorite outdoors show. Tonight, a special documentary on the East Coast fishery. Filmed entirely on location on the Grand Banks of Newfoundland, tonight's show will examine the question, how was the greatest fish stock on Earth completely decimated in only 30 short years? The Grand Banks, 200 miles off the coast of Newfoundland, a place of riches, a place of wealth, a place of northern cod, and a place of spawning. For over 500 years, fishers from all over the world fished on the Grand Banks in relative harmony.
Oh, there's so many fish, I can scoop them up with my hands. My God, the merchant's going to make a fortune this year. I might be able to get enough to feed my family for winter.
In the early days, the fishers used an appropriate technology called hook and line. This ensured that enough fish made it to the shore in summer so that the inshore fishermen could have a livelihood as well.
What the hell kind of rig is that? I've never seen nothing like that.
That's my door, Levi. Shut up and get back.
Time passed. The fishers continued to fish in harmony for hundreds of years until technology changed.
What's that? Oh, can you hear it? Oh my goodness, look at that! Technology! What is that? It's huge! Okay, get all the fish! It's taking it all! It's all the fish! Look at that! Look, buddy! Get out of our way! Look, they're taking all our fish! Look! I can't get nothing! He's taking it all!
The sole purpose of the draggers was to seek out and destroy every fish in the sea. Owned by multinationals such as National Sea and Fisheries Products International, they made enormous profits over the decades, but at the expense of the people, and especially at the expense of the inshore fishers. Occasionally the draggers had small technical difficulties. The fishers knew that the stocks were in trouble. They began to talk together and to speak out.
Have you seen anything lately? All I've seen is those wee small ones. I'm telling you what, I ain't seen nothing, not about 2 weeks. I said we go to the government and tell them right now, because this has got to stop. That dragger's taking everything. We got to do something about it.
So they brought their concerns to government, who sent out the Department of Fisheries and Oceans and their scientists.
I'll tell you what, there ain't no fish out there in that ocean. We've been fishing for 2 weeks now, and we ain't seen one fish.
Don't you worry, I've been studying the fish for years. The biomass is just not
fish. I can feel it on the way. There's a fish coming any second now.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, my. That's my fish. Oh, it's my fish. That's my fish. My fish. Oh, my. Come here, fishy. Fish it up. I have to get a meal and two. Oh, my God. Stop this. Reverend, you're not getting that last fish. I'm telling you. You're not getting that last fish. Oh, my God. I'll get that fish. I'm telling you. Come back here.
Occasionally, the scientists spent time on the draggers. After there were no more fish for the draggers to catch, after the draggers stopped catching fish, John Crosby called a complete moratorium on the northern cod. Many explanations were given as to what happened to the cod. There were too many seals. The water was too cold. There were too many fishermen. The water was too salty. The fish had gone on vacation to Siberia. In the end, though, FPI continues to fish and continues to make enormous profits, catching Siberian cod, Namibian hake, turbot, using precisely the same technology that wiped out the northern cod, and all with Chief Executive Officer Vic Young at the helm.
Hooray! Thank you, thank you. Hello, Halifax, and all you fish-loving people. I'm Vic. Yes, that's Vic Young, President and CEO of Fishery Products International, a Newfoundland company concerned with the problems of Newfoundlanders. I just want to tell all you people out there today to help support my company, help buy Russian cod straight from the Siberian Ocean. Okay, every time you go to McDonald's in Canada, anywhere across this great country, you are buying FPI fish with every fillet of fish that you buy. Remember, help support Newfoundlanders and a Newfoundland company. Buy FPI. And I really should know what I'm talking about. I am Businessman of the Year. Thank you.
There you have it, Vic Young, Entrepreneur of the Year, for his excellent efforts in exploiting the East Coast fish stocks. Today, hundreds of Newfoundland communities and thousands of Newfoundlanders and East Coast people attempt to survive on Brian Tobin's package. Now, we've all heard of the package, but what does the package mean to people in the inshore in Atlantic Canada?
There, and that's all you're gonna get. Stop harassing me. There you go. Good boy.
What's that?
As the people of Atlantic Canada suffer, and as FPI and NatSea continue to make enormous profits at the expense of the people, the questions that must be asked and answered by each and every one of us if we consider ourselves to be true Atlantic Canadians are: when the fish return, who will have the right to fish them? Will we allow governments to continue to support multinational companies and their destructive technologies? Will there be a place for the inshore fisher? And finally, will we allow the government to weasel out of its obligation to support the hundreds of East Coast communities and thousands of East Coast fisher folk as they struggle to survive a crisis that was brought on by mismanagement and over-exploitation? Thank you. This concludes our Land and Sea show for this evening. Stay tuned for next week's program, which will explore how the phony turbot war occurred at precisely the same time as the most vicious federal budget in years, which seemed to diminish any analysis and reporting on that budget.
I guess some of the positives that I see, I mean, theater is a lot of fun to do. And it doesn't require people that necessarily have a theatre background. Although that might seem strange, you don't have to have a theatre background to do it. We had a lot of people in our group who had no theatrical background and were absolutely fantastic and loved every minute of it. So there's a lot of fun to be had in it. You can use anybody in the community who's interested in joining. It doesn't cost any money. You might want to have to get a few props from around somewhere, but that's always fun.
I think the other thing is don't take yourselves too seriously. You know, it's meant to be humorous, it's meant to be a little bit educational, and don't underestimate those activities, the ability to laugh at yourself and have others laugh with you in the struggle to make your community a better place to live. Those are very, very important. I think don't stress yourself out about exactly how the words are going to sound or what order they're in or those sorts of things. You know, you don't want to get bogged down too heavily into what the script is going to look like and put 10 hours of work into a script that's going to last, a minute and a half. And that sometimes, I think we fell into those pitfalls where we wanted to have everything absolutely perfect.